Do you love everything football? You've come to the right place. Welcome to Beyond the Touchline, a Football Manager Central podcast with your hosts, Paul, Ryan, and Colin.
What is going on, guys? Thank you for joining me and welcome to this week's Beyond the Touchline. We are a day late, but as Colin always says, better late than never. So, we are here. We are excited to be back. It's been an odd few weeks, so people who do listen weekly, I do appreciate it. We have had a hectic few weeks, we can say, where certain shows have had to be postponed and certain shows have been missed, but hopefully we get back into the swing of it this week. So, how are you, Colin?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantabby-dozy. There's one man missing this evening. Ryan could not join us.
He has certainly been traveling all over and busy, so understandable.
His loss. We'll just say that. But don't worry, we replaced him. And as always, when we replace Ryan, which is not hard, we step up. So we have stepped up. We've gone across Europe. Screw this just sticking close to home. We have travelled across Europe to find somebody. And we've brought in a man with footballing experience. Maybe not on the pitch. So, let's say hello to Richard from Latvia. How are you, sir?
I'm good, very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It's always a pleasure to have someone from Riga United Football Club on, so thank you for joining us.
Well, as always, thank you very much for having us. Me.
It's me, us.
Us, me. Well, we are one, we are united, so...
I love it. Get that in early. We are one, we are united.
Exactly.
I think it's a good time to have you on, actually, as well, because the women's team for Riga United, they've just started their league campaign.
Yes, the Civil Footballer Liga, the Women's Football League, started last Sunday. And yeah, the on-field score unfortunately didn't go our way, but I mean, the opposing team, Liepaja, half of their team's made out of the national team. So, it was always going to be tough competition. So, so the ladies knew that, but they fought really hard in that game, and there's not. It's just the other team were just that much better, to be honest.
I think they did themselves proud, and they were live on TV, if I'm correct.
Yeah, they almost. It was a streaming from a sort of sport TV website.
My mistake.
But they got shown on TV later, just recorded. But the actual
still counts.
Yeah, but the live version was from their website, and it was just. That brings in the whole thing. It was just amazing to be part of that whole launch for the 2016 Women's Premier League. So yeah, we had the TV cameras down there. We were liaising with the LFF, the Latvian Football Federation, for the best part of a few weeks before that, and we had this whole thing and this atmosphere, and we played in front of a record crowd of 190 people, which some men's teams in the top division of Latvian football would struggle to get that. So that was pretty big for us. And the LFF were really impressed with how we managed to get so many people, and the atmosphere and the crowd were just fantastic. Yeah, they were just wonderful.
I think it's I saw somebody actually comment on the post-match part of it, saying he remembers when Riga United was formed as just a bunch of lads looking to play some five-a-side football, and now you have a ladies team who are helping launch the 2016 season. You're on TV, you're on the internet getting streamed, and the men's season is about to start, and Riga United is certainly moving in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. By all accounts, our youth academy's growing, and people were
new facilities or using new facilities due to the amount of people you have.
Yeah, courtesy of Riga Technical University. Yeah, we're using their their facilities, and yeah, thanks to them. Definitely. And yeah, so we're expanding our academy, and it's fantastic. It's just fantastic. It's growing, and the ladies reserve team, they start their new season this Saturday, and the men start their season late May. So yeah, all things are now kicking off in Riga United.
I think it's definitely just an impressive story. The rise from the bottom to the top. I mean, there's obviously, I'll revert back to it a few times. We've spoke on the show before, the documentary which got me to find Riga United was that Are You Ready, which is on YouTube, which I'll link below for people listening on iTunes, SoundCloud and YouTube. Just check out the link below for the documentary, which was recorded a few years ago now. I think at the rate of growth, you're going to have to get out and record a new one, because it's just the story. Because the story continues.
Yeah, there should be some sort of Are You Ready too, definitely. Because each year the club's getting bigger. We're getting certainly, and it's not just the international aspect. This club is bringing more locals as well. So we're definitely, and I would say we're really engaging with the community, and that seems to be something we're very proud of.
I think it's definitely something to be proud of. I mean, community-based clubs are vital in the growth of football and bringing football back to the public as well, which is definitely one thing that needs to be done. And I think it's definitely, I mean, I'm sure it is something for a Brit living abroad. I'm sure you're proud of being involved with Riga United and just want to continue to see it develop.
Well, exactly. I mean, I'm actually really proud and honoured to have been part of this growth, even if it's a small part, big part, whatever. I've been a part of it, and yeah, to develop something, yeah, to be a part of a team which has developed Riga United, and you know, the fact is Riga United probably almost certainly will be a legacy for the people involved now, and and for the guys who started it, and yeah, it's just fantastic.
I think one thing I would say, what I actually wanted to mention when the season was getting started, was over the winter break you got the new website set up.
Yes.
And the new layout for it. And one thing I would say is the website's all in English, which is a massive help for like universal growth, because obviously it's based in Latvia, the club. And I suppose that's going to, in a bit, we're going to obviously move on to the club which I'm involved with now, but I think putting it in English, just kind of, or having an English section, I know the club's not based in England, but it kind of makes it easier for people from every other country within Europe to understand it, because English is a language which, especially in Europe, most countries at school teach the kids English. So is that one of the reasons behind you doing it in English, or is it just the fact that it was originally set up by English speaking people?
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think I can probably take this chance to say we are developing the Latvian version. I should say that. I should mention that we are developing a Latvian version, actually. Like, it will be the same website, but an English language and Latvian language.
Yeah. So
because obviously there are people over here, but which we still want to reach out to and still want to involve them in the club, because it absolutely doesn't matter to us. Anyone who wants to be involved, we absolutely want to take them. So, but yes, yeah, I mean, just purely the English is the language of the club, with the international aspect. I mean, a lot of our players have joined us because they've looked at the website and seen that they've seen the players, they've seen the articles we have, and it's for them something that they can relate to and just easily help them settle in, actually.
And
and
fantastic.
And that is something we also are really interested in, just helping people settle into Riga and Latvia. And
let them feel at home.
exactly.
Well, I think you talk about the international base of the club, and I mean, one thing I would say is if you scroll down the website, the video "Are You Ready" is actually on the homepage at the bottom. But to the side of that, it has a player profile. Just I guess it comes up with a random player on the player profile bit, and the lady on the side here is Elise Thingsacker from Norway. So straight away, the first player who comes up on my screen is not from England or Latvia. They're from Norway. So again, it shows the wide range of nationalities you have at the club.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's actually a beautiful coincidence.
It is. It's just that was actually a coincidence when I saw it. I was like, perfect. I will utilise that.
Definitely.
But I think what we'll do is I actually want to jump across to Colin. So, hello, sir.
How are you?
Jump right across the pond.
We're jumping across. It's a big leap. So, going down the Riga United route, Colin, and we all know the way the MLS runs if we go to the top level of the US football. I wanted to kind of just get a quick fire question at you about like supporter run or like family, not family run, but the way Riga set up a bunch of mates who decide to set up a football team.
Right.
Does that happen in the US? I mean, the chance of them getting to the MLS is basically impossible, wouldn't it? Because you'd need to buy a franchise, etc. But at the low level, if you went out tomorrow to want to be involved in a football team, Colin, can you go and find a local team like that?
Not to the same level that Riga is. For the most part, there's adult sort of recreation leagues and amateur level leagues, but not to the same degree, not to a point where you'd get in and you could be competitive in leagues and work your way up to even like a USL or an NASL. No, I could go and find pub league, I guess, is probably the closest. You go in, you pay a few bucks, you play 10 or 15 games. At the end of a season, you get a trophy for the best team in the bunch, and you just sort of walk on, figure out if you want to do it over again the next time. But there's no advancement, there's no promotion, there's no anything. It's just one of those, like, you go out and do what you do just because it's fun on that. So no, we don't have nearly the same, but a lot of it also has to do with the league structure.
I think that's, again, it's the league structure aspect, which we've discussed in the past in terms of even just promotion, relegation. The Cosmos, for example, getting promotion to the MLS, that type of thing would be nice to see. But then, as you've brought across, also you're kind of happy with how the structure is. But then you think in England, a bunch of friends could set up a football team and technically could go all the way if they wanted. They would have to obviously buy the way into the bottom level, but it's just fascinating how Riga's done it. And I suppose one question, Richard, would be, do you think the idea of Riga, the way Riga started, would that have been able to happen in England or in a different country? Or do you think without disrespect to Latvia, do you think the level of quality all the way up gave the opportunity for Riga to be able to do that?
I think it's absolutely possible in England or some other country. I couldn't see why not. I mean, for Latvia, it's a case of resources, I would say. But I mean, yeah, absolutely. I don't see why this. I'm not sure if I really want to call it a model, but for lack of a better term right now, the Riga United model, why someone couldn't take that and produce it in England. I mean, we now have, okay, it's at a high level, but now we have quite a few supporter-run clubs in the UK now, and that is slightly different, but it's more along that line. And I mean that's what Riga United is. I mean, it's run, a lot of it's run on a volunteer basis. I mean, so
And it's again, it goes back to the discussion that taking football back to the fans, isn't it? Back to the supporters.
Exactly. Back to the community. I mean, that is actually what our core values are. I mean, we want Riga United and the community to actually be one thing, not a separate thing. This for us is very important, and actually, I would say over the past few years, we've probably seen one or two Latvian clubs sort of looking at the way we're doing things, and I wouldn't say maybe copying us, but at least maybe taking something and moving it a little bit in that direction. So if we can also help change Latvian football, make it more popular, both men and women, then that's also fantastic. So
yeah, definitely. I think we'll just move over to myself, Colin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I told you. No, I won't do it. I think people who've not been around, genuinely, I can't remember what we discussed on the last show, Colin. So I don't know what position we left off the last Beyond the Touchline.
I don't remember myself either, but why don't you start from today and people will just catch up anyway.
Okay, so basically, we'll just run through. Basically, I'm now the A-team manager, the first team manager of Bjerkreim in Norway, in the Norwegian 6th division. So it's
congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thanks, Richard.
Sorry for jumping in there, but congratulations to that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It was a big step because people who followed me in terms of friends and stuff know that I basically decided to come out of semi-retirement and play football this year. I decided I wanted to get back into playing and just give the old legs another run out and see how they could handle it. Didn't go too well, ended up in hospital. I know most people who listen to the show remember that. About 2 months ago. Nice reminder for Colin to laugh at.
Hey, I'm giggling on the inside.
Wasn't the best weekend, was it?
No.
So I ended up saying to the club, well, look, can I still come to training and just basically just help out? So I went to train. The manager didn't turn up. He was busy, so I took a training session. And I got asked if I could prepare the team for a pre-season game. So I basically changed the whole philosophy of the team in terms of formation, style of play. Just basically, I spent a whole hour working on a whole new layout for the team. And we went into this pre-season friendly and we won the game 2-1 against a very strong Gjesdal Ålgård team. Managed to get the victory there. Took the next training session. Then I got offered the full-time manager's job. The manager wanted to step to one side. He decided he didn't think he would have the time, and he thought the direction I was trying to take the club in would be suitable. So I took the job. We played the first game of the season, of the 2016 season, last Monday, and we got a 1-1 draw at home to Lille. So it was a decent start. We were definitely struggling fitness-wise, so we'll be working on that. We've got training again tomorrow. We've got a local derby next week against a club called Helleland. We play that on Monday, so hopefully on the show, Colin, we'll be able to talk about that because we'll probably do the show after that game's finished.
Oh, nice! It'll be excellent. It'll be excellent to diagnose the performance and see how you did.
Yeah, because we've me and Colin have been discussing a little bit. We played Lille last week and got 1-1 draw. Helleland played them last night and beat them 5-1. Now, Helleland were notoriously poor last season. And this season, they've played 2 games so far this season and scored 10 goals. So, I'm excited for next Monday just to see how my lads step up to the challenge, with it being a local derby, with this team coming out the blocks with all guns blazing and firing, whatever you want to say. So we're working hard. We're definitely working on structure and shape and fitness as well this week, which is obviously going to be important. But yeah, the step up from doing a football podcast to actually taking a football management job has been stressful. Colin knows I've been up till the early hours on the weekend, Colin, talking to you at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock my time as I'm sat making training notes.
Yeah, well, for everybody who sits in both, that listens and talks and pundits on football, as well as, the FM community, it takes a lot of time, effort, and energy to figure out how to approach things and set it up and get things out there and how to communicate the messages and all that. So, it's a big job, but so far so good. So we'll see how you keep going.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, and what I would say is you can't do everything alone. When you have 20 people lined up and you've got to get a couple of training drills going, you've got to keep an eye on everybody. You go through the matches. With the match on Monday, Colin, you've offered your assistance in terms of the games are going to be recorded. They're going to be certain parts of the games will be live on Facebook, so you can go and watch the first 30 minutes of the Monday game is going to be live on Facebook, and with my girlfriend behind the camera. So if you drop a hello in the chat, it'll be her who responds. So hopefully people who can't make it to the game, the locals, which will be everybody listening no doubt to this, check out Bjekrheim IL on Facebook and watch the first 30 minutes. It's definitely going to be an interesting game. And if you can't watch it then, watch it back, because as I say, the game's going to be recorded. Colin's going to do some Prozone style analysis on the game, we hope. And it all helps having somebody helping me analyse the games, having somebody who, Colin, as you said, you're going to offer a bit of volunteer work to help do that side of it. What that does is that frees me up to do some more planning for the training after the match, for example. I have an assistant manager who was a player until last week when he got himself injured. He's come to me and said, I really want to do some coaching. So last night of coaching, he shadowed me and kind of picked up a couple of things I was doing, and he went away and did some of that over in the corner, and I was really impressed watching over at how he was drilling the players. They were taking him what he was saying, which was nice. And obviously if that doesn't work on Monday, I can blame him, which always helps, Richard, when you can just point at somebody else and say, wasn't my fault.
Yeah, it's a good tactic. Blame the person below you.
I'm getting prepared. Going to be Jose Mourinho all the way. I just wish I had a physio, because I'd be pointing the blame at her all the way through. What have you done? I'll just blame someone in the crowd. You cost us.
Blame that dog.
Yeah, that damn dog.
Damn dog.
So yeah, I definitely urge people to check it out, because it's a very community-based club, and I was delighted when they came to me, and I've helped them set up a website as well as being the manager of the first team. I've also took on a lot of the social media side of it. They didn't have a website running. They didn't have Facebook. They didn't have Twitter. They didn't have a way of interacting with the community. So it's something I've brought into the club. But it's amazing that they didn't have ways of interacting. But at the weekend, we did a clean-up. Now, the facilities and Norway in general is known for being really clean. But you still have that little bit of litter which maybe blows from somebody's backyard, for example. So at the weekend, we had a clean-up in the woods behind the pitch. We had all the football nets got took down, and we got brand new ones put up on all the goals, all the training goals, etc. And there must have been over 20 adults and maybe 30 kids turn up, all with bags to help clean up rubbish, or with tools to help put the nets up.
That's fantastic.
It was superb to see, and the owner of the club's already told me that on Monday we've got like a food stand, which is going to be open for the first time in over 2 years. So the buzz is coming back, and the football teams had a couple of back-to-back relegations, so they needed a whole new change this year, and hopefully we bring it to the club and stabilising ourselves, ready for moving in the right direction is the key thing to do at this minute. So we're doing it at the minute, so I'm proud to be part of the club now and helping my local village and community out, which is always cool. So,
well, I could definitely say certainly on behalf of Riga United, we do wish you the very best of luck, mate. Genuinely.
The support from you lads at Riga has been awesome. And the owner of the club actually asked me who Riga United were. I think it was yesterday I was down at the football pitch and I was talking to him. and he said he'd noticed me mention a thank you to Riga United. So I explained they're based in Latvia. So it's quite interesting when you end up talking about other clubs in different nations, and it shows how you can bring football can bring people together.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So we just need Colin to get involved now, and then it's all three of us. So Colin, go and find a club to work for.
Well, I'll see if I can find somewhere to manage myself.
Perfect. Until then, you're my personal online assistant.
Yeah, I'm much better at the behind the scene nerd thing.
That's fine. I welcome you to my club. It's unpaid. So moving on, we're going to talk about some actual football from the professional side of the world. Well, first off, I think we should actually start with tonight's football, mainly because I know Richard didn't see it, which makes a great, interesting chat.
I saw the second half.
You saw the Real Madrid-Wolfsburg, did you?
Yeah, the Real.
I'll tell you what, do you want to talk about that one then? Because I didn't see that game, so do you want to just give us a rundown what happened?
So, well, Real Madrid won.
Shock.
Yeah.
But they were 2-0 down, so...
Yeah. I saw a little bit of the first half. Well, actually, I saw the 2 Real Madrid goals. They happened very quickly, and yeah, I mean, Real Madrid caught Wolfsburg quite early on with 2 very good goals, and that obviously put Wolfsburg under a lot of pressure. They certainly kept their own, and even going into the second half, up until mid to late the second half, though, could have gone either way. But Real Madrid, being at the Bernabeu, you know, were getting stronger. They were attacking a lot more, and it was only a matter of time. And due to an unforgivable mistake in the Wolfsburg wall from a Cristiano Ronaldo free kick, where they made a massive gap for him to kick through, Real Madrid got their 3rd goal, and after that, it definitely was game over for Wolfsburg. They didn't have. They couldn't find themselves up front. They were effectively just starting to go long, and yeah, Real Madrid could just sit there and kick the ball back and just keep possession and control the game from there. So yeah,
I think as always, the stats come flying out every time Ronaldo puts the ball in the back of the net. Ronaldo has equalled Messi with the most hat-tricks in the Champions League, which is 5. I mean, how blessed are we, Colin, to be in a situation where every single week, it seems, there is the comparison, the discussion of who scored the most, who's done this, who's done that, etc. between Ronaldo and Messi. I just think the fact we are watching people who in 100 years' time, people will be talking about, in 50 years' time, people are going to ask us, so you got to see Ronaldo play, or you got to see Messi play, and I just think the record, I mean, this season for Ronaldo in the Champions League alone is 11 games, 16 goals, 4 assists. In the knockout stages of the Champions League, he's played 36 times and scored 34 goals, Colin.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think the thing that's most interesting about it is rarely in any sport, right, even if they play the same game, you know, and especially in world football, do you have 2 players at that level in the same league playing this, you know, both Champions League and domestically and in cups, playing so that you can so effectively measure against, you know, basically measure against each other. And that's what I find so fascinating about it is that this is probably, you know, once in a generation or many generations where you'll have 2 players that you can so finely see how they compare to each other stylistically and situationally. And I mean, watching them play is amazing. They're very different, and for, you know, for all of the differences in grief and aggravation and that they take, you know, it's still fairly impressive overall to sort of watch the whole thing unfold. I'm not a huge Barcelona fan, but you have to enjoy watching Messi. And Ronaldo, for all of his ego and self, is still just special. I mean, you can't deny that he is just absolutely special out there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just amazing to watch, and as you say, it doesn't matter if you're a fan of either of the teams. I think it's just a joy to say that we get to watch them at the minute, and it's just long may it continue. But one thing I want to go through is another result from tonight was Man City knocking PSG out. And I want to come on now and say Laurent Blanc has disgraced himself by calling Manchester City a guest club invited by Barcelona, Real Madrid and Bayern, basically in the semi-finals, basically saying they don't deserve to be there. And I think that is the comment of a sore loser. Man City did what nobody expected Man City to go past PSG. Nobody expected the 2-2 in Paris. Nobody expected them to finish it off at home. Everybody still thought PSG were going to somehow get past them. Zlatan was going to get a couple. Cavani was going to step up. But Man City have basically done what nobody expected. I think when you went through all the clubs in the Champions League this year, English clubs, Man City were probably the club who you thought would have struggled the most. Or in my opinion anyway, they've just really, really stepped up. And the fact they've got to the semi-final, I think is massive fair play to them, Richard. And genuinely, if England could end up holding on to that fourth place spot for another year now because of this, at least. So I genuinely think Man City deserve a lot of praise, Richard.
Yeah, I especially if you're going to beat PSG, you don't do that by luck. You certainly don't do that by luck. I mean, there's a lot, and also, I mean, with Pellegrini gone at the end of the year, the fact that his commitment to that team and the players going through what they've done, and they've not had like exactly an easy time of it going through Champions League. So yeah, no, they absolutely deserve to be in the semi-final.
Definitely.
And I actually was really happy because yesterday, making my notes,
do you want to give some of your notes, because some of the stats were cool?
Yeah, what I wanted to bring up was that Kevin De Bruyne, for me, well, I mean, he was phenomenal against West Brom over the weekend. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But for me, when he's been fit and playing, De Bruyne has been the player for City for me this season. He's been absolutely fantastic. Definitely
agree with that. Definitely.
And he's been the game changer for me in the Champions League, and as I said, when he's been fit, keeping City where they are.
I think you go through some other stuff from the weekend. I mean, Colin, you've got Tottenham managed to turn over Manchester United 3-0. But I think one of the talking points from the game was Van Gaal's basically team selection. I mean, it's getting more and more weird. When you're playing, you've got Rojo playing left back, who, yes, he can play left back. He's played there many times through his career. But you've got Blind playing centre back, and surely you would rather have Blind on left back and Rojo, who's an actual defender, playing centre back. Then you've got Martial on the left wing, and even when you make some changes, he still doesn't go up top. You've got Depay, who could play up top, but they're still sticking with Rashford. I just think he looks like he just doesn't really care. He's just kind of seeing his time out.
Well, one, I think he's taken selection lessons from Klinsmann. That's about all I got out of some of it. It's hard to tell. I think on some level the guy is genuinely trying to find a formula that wins, or
try
at least
putting people where they should be.
Yeah,
which is good stuff.
Well, a piece of it is it's hard to tell what he's seen, what he's seeing during the week, and I have to imagine that the locker room is fairly broken at this point. There's got to be a lot of tension and pressure and other issues going on inside of it. So it's hard to tell exactly what he's responding to. My guess is that he's just trying to feed off of whatever he's seen, and put something out that does, that at least gives it a fair go. That game, if it wasn't for a handful of players, that game could have been 5 or 6-0. What was it?
3-0.
Fuso Harena, the young kid that they had out there. I mean, he was playing really well. He stopped a couple that should have been surefire goals on that. So I think something's broken at United, I think, is probably the fairest assessment. Is Van Gaal the right guy to carry it forward next season into the last season of his contract? No, I don't think so.
No.
I think they're gonna hold on to him to the summer and gracefully move on. That being said, right, Mourinho is the guy who seems to be incessantly associated with that job. I'm not necessarily convinced he's gonna be the guy, even if he repairs them to winning more. I suspect that he's stylistically the wrong guy, and I think that if this season has, and sort of last season, and from, I guess, Moyes through Van Gaal, I think almost more important to United and its fans is the style over the substance. That I think people would be okay if they were losing to better teams, if they were playing, I hate to say the United way, but if they were playing, in more of a, sort of the distinct recognizable style, I think people would be willing to say, okay, we're 5th, we're going to end up in the Europa League, but we're playing the way we should be playing and improvement will happen. I think there's such outrage at this point that there is no identity in the team. There's just 11 guys standing out there, and no one, fine, you've got some kids from the academy breaking in and starting to kind of show that, hey, we want to be here, we want to put this out there, but I don't see anybody on the horizon yet that's going to get them back to playing that way, and I think that's almost more what that club needs.
I think Manchester United are in serious trouble now. Actually, I was talking after a United fan at work, and I was asking him who he wants to take the club forward in terms of managing, and they need to look at a whole overhaul of some players as well. And he came to me 3 times over the day, and he had some random options. The first person he said was Brendan Rodgers, and asked him why, because I said that's a very side move in terms of, I don't think many United fans would pick Brendan Rodgers. And he said because of the style of play, just to actually start playing some better football. I said, okay. So then he come back later on and he said Jose Mourinho. And he said he wanted him because of the way he will kind of, lift the team in terms of kind of just be a bit more, I don't know how to describe, just a bit more united. But also with a bit more of a cocky edge, because at the minute they're just bending over and getting scuttled every week. And then he come back and just said, I just want Ryan Giggs. And he just said he wants some stability from inside the club and just get a couple of the class of 92 on the bench. But do you really see that as the long-term solution, Richard? Having Ryan Giggs and Nicky Butt or Paul Scholes coming in and taking over in terms of the coaching side of the team? I mean, surely they should be looking for someone who's, I don't want to say experienced, because Van Gaal is experienced, but somebody who knows what they're doing. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, if you look at Van Gaal in his first season, he did quite well considering what Moyes did the season before. He did quite well and got them back up, and then it just started slipping away. I mean, and Van Gaal was always sure of what he was doing. There was never any doubt of that. I'm one of these people that partly thinks, for as long as kind of Ferguson hangs around, there's always going to be some sort of difficulty for for managers.
I agree.
But I don't think Giggs is ready, not yet. Although he should absolutely be at the center of the coaching team. Yeah, I just think they need a manager who is going to look at Manchester United and look at what Ferguson had done. Excuse me, and not repeat what Ferguson had done, but go, as Colin said, go to the United way, like respect the traditions of United. Someone who they need a manager who's going to respect traditions and is quite confident of their ability to change.
I'm just thinking to end the United discussion then. Colin, off the top of your head, name the person who you think can save Manchester United.
Save United?
Well, they're collapsing around themselves at the minute.
Yeah, I think this is a limp across the... I mean, Pellegrini may not be a terrible guy, but I think he's probably tainted with, being on across the railroad tracks, as they would say.
I think we've got to say save United, because United are going in the same direction that Liverpool went in them years ago. I mean, are United now going to go decades without a Premier League title? I mean, it could happen if they don't drastically change themselves around, because they will slowly fall away and just start fading into a mid-table top half team if they don't fix themselves quickly.
I mean, I think if the United way is a much more punchy, attacking, open game. If I was sitting, if I was, Sir Bobby Charlton or Ferguson, I'd probably turn my eye into the Bundesliga and see if I could pluck somebody out of there. Maybe, I don't think Tuchel's the right guy, and he's too tied to Dortmund. But look at Stuttgart, look at Mainz. Somewhere there would be maybe where I would pluck to go, because I think you get the style you were looking for back.
What about yourself, Richard? Who do you think can come in?
Well, I would throw in a wild card. I mean, right now United probably couldn't do any worse. I would probably look at someone like Eddie Howe from Bournemouth or something like that. I know that is a bit of a wild card, but I think he is a young manager who knows what Manchester United are about. He's a very good manager, and with Ryan Giggs, I think he could take them places.
I don't think that's a bad shout. The first name that comes to my head is still Pochettino, but I guess the question is now, is going to Manchester United a step down from being at Tottenham, Colin?
I'd say for where he is right now and what he's achieving, yes. I would say and imagine I would see him moving from Tottenham to a Manchester United. I think that's a step back for where he is and what he's achieving. As an interesting along that line, though, would Quique Flores out of Watford potentially be a move? Take his Sevilla backing and move to a United. Could be a kind of an interesting maneuver as well. Now that you got my brain churning on the subject.
That's an interesting one, but again, I can't see that one happening. I don't think he's done enough to make everybody turn and say he should go to United. But it's definitely something to leave people discussing. So please comment below who you think could go and save United. And are United on course to do Liverpool? Are United going to go decades without a top flight title? But Richard, I want to thank you for coming along this evening.
You're very welcome.
Colin, as always, sir.
Always good to be here.
What are you going to say, Richard, sir?
I was just going to again repeat, thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk football with you guys.
I always appreciate it. Always appreciate it. But that's it for tonight's show, guys. So please leave your comments, please review, please say hi, and we will join you next week, when we talk some more Beyond the Touchline. And as I do every single week, I'm now just going to continue to talk until the outro kicks in, Colin. Here we go.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beyond the Touchline, a Football Manager Central podcast with your hosts, Paul, Ryan, and Colin. We'll catch you next time.